Today on Drawbli.
Ben is talking about how quick sketches are improving his art.
Hey, I'm Ben.
And I'm Abby.
And we are self-taught artists documenting our journey of learning to draw, which is, of course, better with friends.
So click that subscribe button if you're new around here.
And check out our guidebook, How to Easily Draw Every Day, at the link below in the description.
So Ben, how are quick sketches improving your art?
By doing them a lot.
Yes, quantity over quality. Is that the name of the game?
Yes, but also. So the thing that took me a while to learn that is something that I've known in the 3D world as a professional digital sculptor for a while, but fundamentals are the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're talking about 3D, essentially what you're talking about are your primary forms.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something you've heard me say probably a million times. It's all about the primary forms. It's all about the blockout. And in 2D art, the sketch is your blockout. It is that first step. And it's taken me a while to kind of get here, but the sketching is painting, drawing is painting, painting is drawing. It's all the same, but drawing and sketching is so much faster than going through painting and rendering everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
by creating a lot of 2D art, I've kind of figured this out more and more, sketching is the number one thing that helps me just improve faster because I'm focusing on all the fundamentals. I'm focusing just on basics. I'm not worried about painting. I'm not worried about rendering. Here, obviously, I'm adding on a little bit of color here and there.
Yeah,
right?
Which could be considered to be part of a sketching process easily.
Yeah, I do keep it very unrefined, unfinished.
Mm-hmm.
It's very sketchy. Just to add a little flavor to my sketch, you could call it. But just being able to focus on these early stages has been really helpful for me. I did you're seeing, I think, 3 different sketches in this video. Obviously sped up, but I cut out 10 or so that just weren't even that good,
mm-hmm.
weren't even worth looking at. I picked what I thought were the 3 kind of best that I had to offer from
mm-hmm.
this past week. I've done a lot of sketching over the past week, and it doesn't take long, It's an easy exercise to do. It's fun, it's very exploratory, experimental.
And it's satisfying because at the end of it, you have something that resembles what you were trying to create.
Yeah, in a way, and you don't have to worry about going through this process of hyper-rendering everything. And in some ways, I don't even like that aesthetic, the hyper-rendered artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Something about the sketchy nature of art, and I think realizing this earlier on in our 2D art careers is probably going to be something that accelerates us quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think it's just a better appeal. It's
having insight into what we enjoy already versus feeling the need to be able to create finely tuned, fine art rendered portraits.
Right.
And we're just that's, even if I took on that ability and dedicated, a year to being able to do that, at the end of that year, I would probably go back to a more sketchy aesthetic, and then I guess it would have been worth my time to do the fine portrait rendering experiment, but it's nice to just sketch.
Yeah, something I've been thinking about a lot lately is how I can, and everybody can, accelerate their growth just by having a really refined sense of what you enjoy and what you like. Because a lot of the time, half the battle is figuring out what you want to create, what you
mm-hmm.
want to draw, what you want to sculpt, etc.
I'm sure anybody thinking back to when they were 18 trying to pick out what they wanted to do with their lives can relate to that driftness that comes from being young and not being able to develop that concrete idea of what you want from life, let alone your art expertise.
Yeah, so I've been kind of thinking about that a lot lately, and how I'm just kind of focusing on drawing and painting in the moment exactly what I want to create. And I'm not trying to think about this bigger goal, as awesome as it sounds to come up with this amazing, perfect story or IP to build towards.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to create right now in the moment, I don't want to come up with the next Star Wars. I don't want to come up with it. Are you familiar with the term IP or?
Yes.
Okay.
I see what you're saying now, where you're like, I don't want to, invent the new wheel. I don't want to be the new cutting thing on the art market. I just want to get my art to a point where I enjoy it, and that's sufficient here.
Not even necessarily that. I think it's more that, you can't help but be unique by being yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just by you, even if you're copying, another artist's style, you're going to get elements of yourself in there. Like, you can't help but add your own flair to it.
Mm-hmm. Right, your own habits and tendencies will shine through, for better or worse, in certain different scenarios, but...
Yeah, so I'm just like letting that happen. I'm creating exactly what I want to create, and I'm not letting any hesitation get in the way. I know what I like, and I know what I like to make, and I'm just getting in and doing exactly that.
This is a good commentary on a very popular art question, I feel like, especially among younger artists, of how do I find my art style?
Yeah.
You can find dozens of YouTube videos dedicated to that topic alone.
Literally a billion.
And I feel like what you just said just speaks directly to that, of like, and what those videos tend to say is you don't find it, basically, you just do what you like and you'll discover it along the way.
I mean, art style is not something you just dream up one day. It's something that, is what would you call it? A collection of habits, essentially. Mm-hmm. A collection of preferences.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe very early on you were always drawn to drawing anime-esque characters, and so your art for your entire life may follow a little bit of that preference. Maybe, though, you didn't, and you tended towards realism, and your art forevermore tends to follow that preference. Or maybe you develop a whole new preference later on, but like, these habits and styles can come from so many sources and so many different points of time in our lives. So I think it's just easy to go with the flow and see what comes out of your particular interests and what appeals to you to draw.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the time people are asking the wrong question there. It's more just like, not how do I find my art style, but like, how do I kind of design my art style? It's like, oh, I see these people who have this distinct art style. It's like, well, I want that. And it's like, well, you will have that. And you already do have it. It'll just take time.
Yeah, and I think some of that will be like seeing what people respond to a little bit too. I've heard that recommended by a professional artist as well. And you will know by that what your most, universally appealing work becomes. But hey, if you want to be universally appealing...
click that like and subscribe button and check out our guidebook, How to Easily Draw Every Day, at the link below in the description.
Share your work on Instagram with #Drawbli, because drawing is better with friends.
And this is the part where we say...
goodbye.
Goomba.
Your sketches, by the way, I didn't ever mention this. They're all amazing. I love them all.
They're all
so
amazing. They're the
much.
best sketches I've ever seen. Oh my god.
Really, really good.